Google Webmaster Tools is a fantastic service that helps you review how your site is doing within Google search results. Now, signing up for this tool isn't going to immediately provide you with some direct SEO benefit, but it will give you the insights into how Google sees your website so you can make improvements. Google Webmaster Tools allows you to see crawl errors, remove content that you don't want to see in search results, and to identify if there's any spam or malware issues your site is having. You can also take a look at how your site is doing in search and what sites are linking to you. Armed with this data, you'll have the ability to make informed SEO strategy decisions. It's pretty easy to set up, and you'll start by going to google.com/webmasters, and then choose the blue Sign In to Webmaster Tools button. I'm going to use the same account as I did for Google Analytics, so I'll enter in my credentials and then choose Sign In. Since this is the first time we're using the tool, we'll need to enter in our URL that we want to add. And I'll do that here at the bottom of the screen, www.explorecalifornia.org, and then choose Add a Site. Next, we're going to need to verify that we own this website. And you can do this one of several ways. First is the Google recommended method, which is to download this HTML file, and you'll just select the blue HTML verification link to download that. And then you need to upload that on your server in the root domain. And then you'll visit the URL to make sure that you can see the text, and then you can choose Verify below. Now, there's some other ways you can do it, and you'll select the Alternate Methods tab. And in here, Google's going to offer you some different suggestions, and you can select the radio button next to each one to see the instructions on how to set that up. So we can add an HTML tag, we could sign in to our domain name provider, such as GoDaddy or Namecheap. We can also use our Google Analytics account, or the Google Tag Manager. Select the option that makes the most sense for you, follow the instructions, and then choose Verify. I'm going to switch over to an account that I've had running for a while, just so you can see what Webmaster Tools looks like after it's had a chance to collect data. So when you log in, you're going to get a dashboard similar to this. And what we have here in the center is some alerts, if we've got any. These could be positive alerts or issues we might need to dig into. I can take a look at the current status, and 3 green checks are great. If I saw a warning sign or an exclamation mark, I might want to click into there. In the center, we have all of the search queries per day that are happening, along with how many clicks we're getting. So I've got impressions versus clicks, and then sitemaps that have been submitted. In this case, there aren't any. Along the left-hand side, you'll have some navigation options, and I'm going to start at the top here with search appearance and walk through them to show you some great things on each page. So first, we have structured data. And this would be the schema that we entered when we did our location information. And you could look here to see how many items Google is seeing and how many items have errors. In this case, it looks like we have 43 errors on this data type H entry. And you can select into the data type. And what Google's going to do is show you the page with the problem along with a list of all the errors. So it's saying you're missing author and you're missing updated. So I can go in and inspect that a little bit further and fix those issues, and then in a couple days, I can come back and see if the errors have gone away. Now, I should point out, Webmaster Tools will be a few days behind, so you need to give it a couple days before you start to see new data come in. Next, we have the data highlighter. And earlier, we looked at a way to install structured data on our site. What's great is that with Webmaster Tools, you can actually just use the Start Highlighting tool and go around your site and select all of the options. And you don't have to install any HTML code on your site. Google's going to automatically understand that for you in the future. Next, we have HTML improvements. And here we can get a sense if we have duplicate meta descriptions, long meta descriptions, short meta descriptions. And if there's an issue, you can select into it. In this case, Google says you've got 14 pages that have short meta descriptions, and we think that's something you can improve. I'll click in there, and it'll give me a list of the pages with the short meta descriptions. If I wanted to, I could click Download this table here at the top of the column and get an Excel spreadsheet that I can then go through one by one and fix the descriptions on each of those pages. Now I'm going to go back to HTML improvements and just point out that you'll also get notifications if you have title tags or content that can't be indexed. And these are really important. I would address these immediately if you have any issues in your HTML improvements section. Next, we can click on Site Links. And site links appear under your search result. If you've ever done a Google search and you see other links, say Contact Us, Locations, appearing under a search result, those are site links. You might come across one that you don't want to appear in your search result. It could be a blog article or something that just is irrelevant. And you can come in here and select Denote this site link URL. enter the URL to that page and choose Demote, and Google will remove it from its site links section. Next, I'm going into the Search Traffic tab, and then I'll select Search Queries. What we can see here is pretty cool. Over time, we can see the impressions. That's how many times our site appeared in a Google search result versus how many clicks we received. And we can track this over time. And below this, we'll see all the queries that delivered traffic to our site and their specific click-through rates. Now, if you notice that there's a business name at the top, that's going to be a branded search, which gives you a sense of understanding that you have some brand awareness. People are looking specifically for you. Beyond that, if you start to see keywords, you'd like to see if these keywords are trending to the strategy that you selected. And you want to take a look at your click-through rate. Something between 2 and 6% is fantastic, and you'll even get a sense of your average position. So you can also up here select the With Change button, which is directly above the impressions column. And Google's going to show you your change over time from the date range that you select in the upper right-hand corner. And this is great. This lets you quickly track your keywords and how you're improving over time. Next, I'll choose Links to your site. Here you can see which sites are linking to you the most and what content on your site is most linked to. This is helpful to see if you're getting backlinks that you expect to be getting and where most of your backlinks are being spent. So if I'm trying to rank for a particular page, I might want to increase the link count to that exact page. You can also see the anchor tags, in other words, the text that's clickable to get to your site, that's being used too. The more keyword focused and specific your anchor tags are, the better it's going to be. Next, we can choose internal links from the left-hand side. And what this is going to show me is all the links that I, within my site, point to. And this is really useful because it gives us a sense of what's most important on our site. The more links you have internally pointing at specific content, the more important Google will see it. You may want to review this table and consider ways to improve your linking structure so that this list goes from your most important content to your least important content. It's not super critical, but if you have a really important page with one link, it could use an improvement. Next, I'll select Manual Actions. And if you had any web spam or malware issues, Google's going to alert you here and give you some instructions as to what you need to do. Next, you have international targeting, and if you have multiple languages that you support, you'll need to indicate to Google through what's called a href language tag. And you can read more about that by selecting the Learn More option on this page. One thing that you can set up, though, is select the Country tab and choose where you're targeting users. In this case, I've got this set up to the United States. Next, we have the Google Index tab. I'll drill into index status, and we can see how many pages are in the Google Index. So you can see here for a while there were 10, and then we jumped up and there were over 30. You can download this or select the Advanced tab from the top to get even more detailed specifics. So here we can see the total indexed and any that were blocked by robots. We can also look at our content keywords. And this is helpful to see what Google thinks the significant keywords are on your page, and you can look to see if you're providing Google with the right theme. You can also click in to see the variants that Google has found. In this case, Google finds the keyword work, and it also decides that the variants encountered are work and working. And we can see the top URLs on our site that include those keywords. So you can quickly see how this becomes really helpful in doing some of that on-site keyword research. Next, I'll select Remove URLs. If you found a particular section of your site that you did not want indexed on Google, that's already on their search results. So if you did a search for your brand and you saw a page coming up that was maybe supposed to be private or something that you didn't want to show, you can come in here and select the Create a New Removal Request button and then type in the case-sensitive URL that you'd like removed from the index and choose Continue. Google will show you the status. It'll go from pending to then removed when that happens. Finally, we can look into the Crawl tab. Here we can get a list of any crawl errors. In this case, Google shows 7 not found URLs. And that would be a problem. We would want to look into why Google is having trouble finding some of our pages. It'll show us a list prioritized by the pages it can't find, and you can select into them to see when the issue was first detected and when the crawl found it again. What's also really helpful is this Linked From tab. And this will help you find out where on your site you're pointing to this bad link. You can go visit those sites by selecting the icon to the right of the URL. And then when you've fixed it, you can choose Mark as Fixed to remove it from this list. Also in this section are crawl stats, which will show you how many pages are crawled per day, and how many kilobytes are downloaded per day. And this is really helpful as you understand if Google is crawling your site, if you have activity. If you notice that they're having trouble or a downward trend, it might indicate that you have some crawl errors. Next, there's the Fetch as Google tool. And what this does is lets you fetch a particular page to test it. So you could type in a URL and choose Fetch, and Google's going to bring it in. And with that URL, you can also submit it to the index. So if you added a new blog article and you wanted to suggest that Google come take a look at it, you can fetch it, and then you can click on Add to Index. And you get so many of those per year, it'll be dependent on how you set this up. Next, you have your robots.txt tester. And this is going to look at your robots text file. You can also include a new one to test it and see the live robots.txt file by selecting the link in the upper right-hand corner. Furthermore, we have sitemaps, so we can submit our sitemap to Google up here by choosing the Add Test Sitemap button, and then you would insert the link to your XML sitemap. You can either test it or submit it to get some additional information from Google. I encourage you to check in on your Webmaster tools a few times a week, explore the data, and consider ways to improve your SEO strategy based on the information you find.